Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Before I start going through the chat and everything, I'm going to tweet out that we're live because I forgot to put the tweet together. So while I'm doing that, Steve, let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff.
Here, twice a month.
You're going to have to entertain them. It's going to take me longer to do this tweet.
Okay. Well, a dark intelligence seems to have misunderstood. We're not doing top 10 1990s decade movie, favorites. We're doing from 1990, the year.
Yes, we
So
did.
make a
I
new-
think we did the 90s a while back, but
Yeah. So make a new list, sir.
yes,
Same
we're
with geek archivist peers. You screwed up. You failed. A kitten died somewhere because of you.
Oh my god. Yes, it's like it's just 1990 films. We did our own personal top 10 list of like 90s films a while back, but for this one we were just going by like per year. So basically literally breaking down the decade per year, and the movies that come out each year our own personal top 10 lists.
Yeah.
So I'm like regretting having you entertain the chat while I was doing the tweet, but I figured that was better than awkward silence, and I kind of figured wrong. Anyway, welcome everyone.
Yeah, you just let me loose. So
Yes, I
it's
just
on
let
you.
you loose, and
Yeah.
I like as soon as you started talking, I regretted.
Yeah, and
I
I
forgot it.
always make sport out of attacking the chat.
Yes, but anyway, yes. So like that clarification. So it's like just the year 1990, and like the movies you have on the list, I can just I will go through the chat. I can about guarantee that we will have those movies at some point, at some point on our list whenever we get to those years that they came out.
Oh hell yes!
So they're good lists. They're good lists, but right now they did not come out in the year 1990. So, so there's that. But welcome everyone. Welcome. We covered the 80s, and now we're into the next best decade, at least of the modern decades, the 90s. And I think, and there are also good movies in the early 2000s, like between 2000 and 2010. But once like 2010 hit, they're few and far between for me, in my personal opinion, as far as like actually good movies that I enjoy.
2015. That's when it starts
So
going very fast downhill.
yeah. So it is what it is, pretty much. But anyway, so from the top, Trey's ready for a lit discussion. His top 5 is pretty much all twos. I didn't realize that there like the number of sequels that came out.
Yes, I actually noticed that too. It's like two. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, so I have one sequel on my list, but the other ones, even though I enjoy them, so basically, like I know you full-on chat are going to judge me hard that I don't have certain movies on my list. The fact that I had to narrow my list down from like 39 films to 10, rather difficult for me.
I had to leave out a lot of slight favorites, I guess.
Yeah.
And I actually had to leave out good movies because we're going by, favorites.
Well, these are like a subjective list. So basically, it's not. So yes, there are most likely better movies that came out in 1990 that aren't on my list. But I went and said, you know what? If this movie was on right now, would I sit down and watch it?
Yeah.
So. But Jaluk, hello. Lurking while watching TV, no worries. Geek Archivist Pierce, hello. Mike Hill, no, fuck no. Oh my god, I quote tweeted them and told like Amazon to fuck themselves. Because they further massacring my boy Celebrimbor.
Oh, he's gone.
I know, but I'm saying like they're basically massacring they're basically like digging at the corpse to just fuck it over again. Pretty much.
Yeah, they're trying to change people's perspective of Tolkien's work long term.
Yeah. Hello, Bradley. Good to see you. Back to the Future 3 was the first one I saw when I was a kid. I still really enjoy it. I didn't see 2 until recently, a bit odd. say 3, 1, and 2, how I'd rank them. I was gonna say it's like I'm probably in the minority, but I actually enjoyed the third one. Even though like I would like agree with the argument that 2 is most likely objectively better in terms of the sequels. Subjectively, I actually more enjoyed the third one to Back to the Future than the second one. I might be in the minority there, but I very much enjoyed the third one.
I actually don't like the second one that much.
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying like it's like I've never really been big into the Back to the Future trilogy like as much as like other people. I enjoy the movies. I watch them whenever they're on, but I was never like a big fan of them. I like the third one more than the second one. So, it's Total Recall is on my list, but it's not. Where do I have it?
You didn't forget to put it on?
I didn't forget to put it on. No, but it's not high on my list. But like, bear with me. Like I said, it's like this is an objective list, and I also include nostalgia and things like that in deciding what films I put on.
Yeah, I see people in the chat too, mentioning that this and that movie they watched it on TV a lot.
Yeah,
and that's actually a huge thing back then. Access. You needed access to the movies, and that was not a given.
Yes. So, Total Recall is on my list. But yeah, so it's like so I'm getting through the list. So I'm seeing like the list that people have made. So I guess that guaranteed that the movies I'm seeing once we get to those years in the decade will very likely be on our lists. Metalon, hello. Soul Assassin, what is up? Yeah, that's like bullshit. I have no idea what's going on. Like Elon, I don't like what the fuck's going on. Elon Musk, stop fucking interviewing Trump and fix the fucking site.
Well, Gravy's banned again?
Yeah, because he created a new account since he couldn't get them to unban him from his first account since they didn't tell him why his first account was suspended. And then his second account got suspended because of evading suspension. So it's like, because he created a second account. And it's probably triggered, like he used the same email, so probably triggered it. But at the same time, it's like, well, you force him to do it, and then you suspend the second account because, and accuse him of evading that suspension. That was bullshit to begin with.
I got permanently banned from saying skanky hole.
Yeah. So. No, I know Balto. I remember Balto. I watched it fairly recently, not too long ago. Again, because it was like, can't remember. It was like if it was on TV or where I was catching it, but like it was on, and I sat down and watched it. See, I dual stream my gaming streams on Kick and Twitch. Tomorrow, I was telling Trey this earlier that while I have like a big gripe against the hacking mechanism in BioShock, I'm not a fan of the procedure you have to go through. I actually am very much into the game. That I know this is going to sound bad when I say this, but I was kind of regretting not being able to play it tonight and having to do this stream. But I'm like,
good grief, madam.
I know. I was saying I really want to get back into playing it, but I got to hold off until tomorrow.
One of these days, I'm going to give you a BioShock.
Yeah.
Whatever
I don't know how to take that.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Just a taser?
I don't know. It's like,
yeah. I'm going to tase you at the...
He's going to find me, walk up, tase me, and then just leave.
Yeah, in the bread aisle at the grocery store. Just go, fuck you, bitch. I'm going back to Norway.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, just leave.
Okay, gaming or what? Good to see you. Hello again, Mr. Bentham. Yes, I just made Trey sad. It's on the list. It's just not high. It's just not that high. Mom Monty, good to see you. Daniel Stewart, 90s had a lot of good movies. Like I said, it's like for me, it's like 80s and 90s were like, in terms of modern cinema, like technically it's not modern now, but like modern cinema peak. Like so many good films came out in the 80s, and then, like so many good films came out in the 90s, and there was a good stretch in the early 2000s to 2010-ish. And after that is like Hollywood died almost. So
yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember that you got banned for quoting Back to the Future. I can't remember what the quote was. Like the quote was, but like you were obviously quoting a movie, and Twitter banned you. I have no idea, Trey. I dropped the word cunt, bitch, hoe.
I say retard a lot. I
say
admit it. I
retard.
say it.
This is
I say it.
retarded.
I say it too much. But then again, no other word covers it.
No. What do you mean still no Revy? Do you mean like cosplay or what? I don't know. I have the Revy cosplay, but that wig is so fucking heavy. Hunt for Red October. I have seen that, but it did not make my list.
I'm just picturing tasing you at the grocery store now.
You've never seen Total Recall. Do yourself a favor. Like, do yourself a favor, Gravy. Just watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. Don't really bother with the remake.
Yeah.
Even
though the remake by itself is not.
It's not a bad movie. It's just like it's forgettable.
Yeah, and it's unneeded because.
Yeah.
Well, it's forgettable because the first one did it right.
Yeah. So it's like you're not missing anything really if you don't watch the remake. But I just watched the original.
I never actually finished the remake. Maybe I should.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the statue. You know, I have to contact Throne. I'm giving it to the end of this week, but I've had the tracking page up, and from what I can tell, I can't even tell. From what I can tell, just from the tracking page, it hasn't even left the country of origin yet. I can't tell because it hasn't updated since July 26th, and we're now about midway through August. I have no idea, so I'm giving it through the end of this week to see if anything gets updated, and then I'm going to contact Throne and say, like, can you look like on your back end to see what's going on with this? Like, did it even leave the country of origin? I can't tell. So
I have 3 statues.
Hey, Peter.
Siri, Yennefer, and Triss.
Yeah.
They're watching me right now.
And that, like I'm saying, like again, it's like one hand, Twitter is essentially fixed because like you are not exactly overly punished for anything that like words you say and things like that or posts you make. But at the same time, it's like it's also worse because you get suspended for reasons that you have no idea like why, and they won't tell you. You can't use their fact sheet because you can't get onto the fucking site. And I think it's like, arguably in terms of that worse than it was under Jack Dorsey. So like, how the fuck is it Elon Musk manage that? Anyway, go ahead.
I bet you there's a few bad apples still working there that manually bans people that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably hate Gravy D. They hate him.
Yeah.
They wish him harm.
But as far as BioShock, I can see the BioShock conversation. I just have the first 2, so I'm not really planning on playing past the second one. But we'll see. But anyway, so if I miss anyone, I do apologize. Hello, Galadorn. Good to see you. But this, again, is our personal, subjective, like entirely subjective top 10 films from 1990. All right, so these films themselves are not necessarily objectively good. They're not objectively classics, but they are subjectively entertaining to us.
Some might even be subjectively shit, but we like them anyway.
Yeah, but we like them anyway. Like that's the whole point. These are our own personal favorites. It has nothing whatsoever to do with any type of like film criticism, discussion, things like that, or anything like that. This is like, if this movie was on, as I said, I would sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't matter how bad it is or how good. Like, if it entertains me, then it's a movie I love. Because there's plenty of movies that I've seen that are objectively crap that I like. One, you can't see the well, you can kind of see the poster. Buckaroo Banzai, objectively a crap film.
Yeah.
I will admit that objectively a crap film. It was not objectively good, but I loved the hell out of it because it's like so weird, and there's elements to it that like obviously would not fly today. You have black aliens with Jamaican accents in this movie, but I love it. All right, so yeah, how it works generally is Steve rolls a d20,
And you win.
We'll see. There's always a time when I might lose.
Mm-hmm.
1 through 10.
You want 1 through 10?
Yes.
5.
Every other time your die hates me. It likes me here.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get you back on Sunday at D&D.
All right. Okay. But not my number 10. It's one of those movies where, and again, I will admit, it's not objectively great. It's a comedy from 1990, stars John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley, and it's pretty much The House Guest from Hell, which is it basically starts with John Larroquette's cousin and his wife, and it progressively gets worse and worse as more people come to stay with them for various reasons, and that's the movie Madhouse. It's a comedy from 1990. John Larroquette's character, he's basically a stockbroker. So he's kind of like, he kind of like makes the big bucks. Kirstie Alley plays an anchor woman who generally handles kind of like the fluff story pieces. So she's kind of like the question girl. Those are her segments basically. And there's one segment I love during the movie because periodically they will show her doing those segments. And the one question she has for the people on the street is, how do you handle stress? So, yes, the cat with 9 lives, literal cat with 9 lives in this movie. A child that mows "fuck you" into their lawn. He's basically a little bastard that lives next door. Drugs. Cocaine in particular, a circus elephant. It's literally a madhouse. It becomes like a literal madhouse by the end of the movie.
I've actually never seen it.
Problem Child. I've seen Problem Child, and Tremors is on my list. I think, like, I'm not recommending it to you because I think you'll like it, but it's like one of those movies where it's like I think you should watch it at least once. I think it is in terms of comedies. It's a decent comedy. John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley have a good chemistry in it, as basically the married couple, who have their lives turned upside down by these house guests.
Kirstie Alley's never shit.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's like she does solid. Crazy really well.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the movie, like as I said, it's almost a literal madhouse, hence the title. And like there's so much to it that I don't really want to get into it, only because I might ruin or ruin a funny part for someone that hasn't seen it. Trey says he's never even heard of it. It's like I don't want to ruin any potentially funny parts for anyone. But yeah, so I think Trey, you'll like the segment where she asks the question, how do you handle stress? Because there's a guy that answers her question that's like, that would be me. Like handling stress. Yeah, maybe a watch party sometime if I can find it. It's on Tubi. All right. Well, maybe a watch party sometime. Like it's 1990. If I don't do a watch party of it, and you can't wait for a watch party, it's on Tubi. Check it out. But it's also one of those movies where it's like I probably shouldn't have been shown it as young as I was. But my parents were basically the type that they're like, they're gonna fucking hear this anyway, so here you go. So, but Madhouse, John Larroquette, Kirstie Alley, John Deal, and so forth. Very, very eclectic comedy. Very eclectic comedy from 1990. Congo, that's later in the 90s. We're just doing 1990. So I'm not trying to call you out, Daniel, but we're like, this is not the 1990s. It's just 1990.
No, call them out.
I'm not mean like you.
Make
Which is
all of
weird
them
because
laugh
I'm
at
probably
him.
meaner than you in other instances. But yeah, so Madhouse. So make sure it's like because there is a Vincent Price movie by the same name. So if you're looking it up, make sure it says John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley. So because you might find the Vincent Price movie instead of the John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley movie. So, but there it is. Okay, that's my number 10, Madhouse.
Okay. My number 10 is it's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It's Another 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, and the guy who plays Wishmaster, Andrew Divoff, plays the brother of the villain, played by James Remar in the first one, and I guess it expands the story a bit about why Eddie Murphy was in jail to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of action. Apparently, it had a lot of production problems as well because there's a lot of conveniences in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels rushed and a bit glued together, but I like it anyway. And I think it might have been the first Eddie Murphy movie I ever saw. Could be.
Okay.
So
I think which was the first movie I think I've seen. I think the first movie I've seen him in is probably Coming to America. I think that's the first one I had seen him in.
yeah,
I actually enjoyed the
soundtrack.
Dr. Dolittle remake. So
Same soundtrack as in the first one too, pretty much,
Mhm.
which is good because it feels like a theme.
Yeah.
Theme music, but yeah, it's objectively I'd give it a 7. I think it's nowhere near as good as the first one,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still fun. It's okay movie to watch if you want to turn your brain off. Brian, what's his name? Is it Brian James? The guy who was in a lot of stuff in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Played Leon in Blade Runner.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's in it too. He was in the first one a little bit. But yeah, lots of familiar faces.
No one saw Robert Downey Jr.'s Dolittle. I didn't see it. Like I said, I did enjoy Eddie Murphy, the remake with Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle, for what it was. So it wasn't exactly a great film, but it was like a nice family film. But yeah. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Another 48 Hours.
Okay.
And I struggled with number 10 on this list because I had, a lot of movies moving in and out. Couldn't decide, and then I just picked that one.
As I said, I had nearly 40 movies of that I'd written down that I remembered seeing, and I had to exclude a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe I have around 42 on the list.
So, but anyway, number 9.
Yeah, my number 9 is a sequel. Again, Die Hard 2.
Okay, not on my list.
Barely made mine.
Yeah.
My first Bruce Willis movie, actually, but I had seen him on Moonlighting before that, so I liked him already. But yeah, John McClane again, really good sequel in my opinion.
The sequel is good. It's like one of those where it's like if I had a top 20, it would definitely be on the list. But
yeah. Well, bad guys take over an airport. They try to free a dictator. William Sadler plays the villain. I think it's William.
Yeah, he's a good villain. I mean, I'm telling you, the actor, the actor plays a good villain. He plays like a good antagonistic character.
Yeah, he's good at everything.
Want to fist fight him in New York or somewhere.
Yeah. Well, he's rock solid.
And
As
he's
an
like he's a
actor.
good actor. Like, but he's so good that people will actually like challenge him to fights because of how good he is at playing like a prick. So
Yeah, and Dickless is in it from Ghostbusters, playing a prick again.
well, yeah, I'm saying he's
Uh,
like he's so good.
you know, um, yeah, all kinds of famous people in it. Really, you have the T-1000. Robert Patrick is in it for a
Yeah.
little while. Not bulletproof in that one. He doesn't heal.
No.
Great action. I actually think Willis is better in this one than in the first one, even though the first one's a better movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, way more special effects because of there's a couple of planes that go to hell, and
Yeah.
most of it happens at night in the snow. So he's outside in this one, not just in a skyscraper. But yeah, solid sequel,
Mhm.
very rewatchable. Yeah, and it's not far off from the first one in terms of quality. I think
Yeah.
like slightly below.
See. Yeah. So it's like excluding it from my list. It doesn't necessarily mean it's like a bad movie. It's just I had to exclude it for reasons. And I was just watching a behind the scenes segment with Robert Patrick and how. Remember how he like when he's chasing John Connor and John Connor's on his motorbike. Robert Patrick actually caught him.
Oh, I watched that. Is it the one where he goes and visits the locations and talks
I
about?
think where he's getting interviewed or something like that, and he's like he's going over making that movie, and the scene where John Connor, yeah, he was actually that fast. He actually was that fast to the point where he had to actually physically slow himself down, so the scene was believable that John Connor was getting away on the motorbike. But Robert Patrick, the first take they did, he actually caught the kid.
There's
He was that fast.
there's a thing he made on YouTube where he goes around and visits the locations where they shot it
Mm-hmm.
and tells stories about it.
Yeah. So he basically had to be told, I believe, by James Cameron or something, so I can kind of slow down. Because I think like Robert Patrick ran track or something like that. Like he was a runner, and like that's how fast he was.
Plus long legs. That's actually a thing. Long legs, you run faster.
So yeah, Robert Patrick is also an underrated actor because he plays both good villains and good characters. Because
I always thought it was great on the X-Files
mm-hmm.
because Duchovny leaves for a few seasons and he takes over.
Mm-hmm.
He got a lot of stick because he wasn't Duchovny. So fans automatically hated him. But what's the alternative though? Close down the show.
Yeah. So
but he was. I liked him.
Mm-hmm. So you see some Marine with John Cena. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, my number 9 is a sequel. It's the only sequel, well, number 2, I should say, that I have on my list. Right? It's the only number 2 movie I have on my list, but I had to include it because the genre I generally gravitate towards is the horror genre.
Oh, I think you just nuked my number 1. Maybe.
I don't think so. Child's Play 2?
No.
Okay, so I'm saying I don't think so. I don't think you would have had this movie as number 1. I think this movie is objectively better. As much as I love the first Child's Play movie and will never fucking ever have a life-size doll like that and anywhere near wherever I'm living, I think objectively the second one is a better slasher-esque tone than the first one. The first one is basically who's doing the killing. Is it Andy? Did Andy go crazy? There's a mystery to it until basically you're flat out shown that the doll actually talks and moves. That the soul of Charles Lee Ray is residing within this life-size good guy doll, and he calls himself Chucky. The second one is, in terms of moving it into the slasher franchise, objectively better in that regard, because it in the first one, it's just 4 kills because it's the friend, the Charles Lee Ray's accomplice, the voodoo guy, and the doctor. 4 kills.
This is a better Chucky movie.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
because it's full on. There's no mystery to it. We know the doll is moving and everything. So now we really want to see Chucky in action, as a slasher, and that's what we get in Child's Play 2. Basically, it picks up where the first one left off, where the mother has basically been put in. You don't see the mother, but she's basically been put into an institution because people think she's crazy for claiming that her son's doll talked and moved and things like that. That the soul of this serial killer, Charles Lee Ray, is residing within this doll. So Andy is separated from his mother, and he's taken to a foster home. But again, it's kind of at least based on what Chucky does, it makes people think that Andy is still have a mental break sort of a situation, that he hasn't fully recovered. But no, we see full effect of Chucky as a little slasher doll, and I think it's a good sequel. It's a very good sequel in my opinion. Better than
very similar to
So,
John and Sarah Connor, really.
Yeah.
Think about it.
yeah. So yeah, so these people still think Andy might be crazy, crazy. But I included this because I think it's one of those rare instances where the sequel, the direct sequel to the first one, is actually better than the original. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I love the original. I love the mystery to it. It's a very good horror film, but it's not really what I would say is necessarily a slasher film. The sequel embraces that element to as part it's basically it's kind of at the tail end of the slasher movie craze in the 1980s, but still takes it again that one step further in terms of sequels, because again, moving forward, basically kill after kill after kill. Even if the movie itself is shit, the kills are entertaining.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I had to include this one because I do love the horror franchise, and so Child's Play 2 was my number 9 on the list. How's it hanging, Phil? Yeah, I it's the one-liners from Chucky. Brad Dourif is just chef's kiss, the perfect casting choice for Chucky.
He has retired now from acting, unless it's more Chucky stuff. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. So, which is I'm fine with that. I don't like what they've done with the Chucky franchise, with the series, from what I'm reading about the series. But at the same time, it's well, that's his prerogative, and that's basically kind of his baby. And I'm not saying he created it, but you can't think Chucky without thinking Brad Dourif, without thinking Charles Lee Ray, because he kind of made that character what it is.
Yeah, and he is extremely underrated as an actor. I don't know if you've seen Deadwood, but holy crap!
Let me clarify. I should have said one of my only 2s on the list. All right, but Child's Play 2 is number 9.
Okay.
Right. Okay, my number 8 is where I'm going to break Trey's heart because it's not higher up on the list, but that is the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you wrecked one of mine too.
Yes. So basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside. I still love that name, Michael Ironside. It's one of the best last names ever.
Him and a Powers Booth. That's a hell of a name too.
Yeah. Right, but it's basically science fiction film. Basically Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a character by the name of that we know him as is Douglas Quaid, who's a basic construction worker and it's set in the future, about nearly 100 years after, like like later than when the movie comes out, because it's like in 2080 something. And basically, there's an organization that gives you, like, basically implants memories in your head of, like, like being, like, taking a vacation without actually taking that vacation. So it's like you wake up from this induced sleep procedure thinking that you've been somewhere. And Quaid goes in, like he's recommended, like, basically, like, you need to, like, you have so much stress in your life, go to this place, enjoy, like, get some good memories and things like that. His Sharon Stone plays his wife. So he goes and he takes the option of, like, oh, I want to go to Mars, and oh, do you want a companion that's gone with you, sort of a situation, blah blah blah, and he goes through the process, only for him to, like, all of a sudden, like, just go crazy. Yeah, like, you blew my cover. Yes, you blew my cover. And just yelling at the workers, basically, like, you were doing this, and they're like, like, something got, like, screwed up in the procedure. It's like, well, that's just the problem. We didn't fucking put the memories in them. So basically, they unlocked, like, these memories that had been repressed within him of his actual job.
A friend of mine used to yell that when we pinned him, when we were playing as kids and stuff.
Yeah.
He'd rage, "You blew my cover."
Yes. So basically,
Every damn time.
unknowingly reveals his actual past. That, like, they basically, not only that the memories have been repressed, but they've been basically hidden, like, replaced.
Or have they?
I'm saying it's like, like his actual past, because he's thinking, like, he'd had memories implanted in him that he was married to Sharon Stone and everything like that. Then, well, like,
yeah, but is it the dream thing kicking in, though, or isn't it?
Well, they said they never implanted anything in them.
Yeah, but that could be where his, like, spy story starts. So where the memories start.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like they actually accidentally triggered something.
Yeah, it could be, but
I think they actually, that's my interpretations. They actually accidentally triggered something.
Yeah. So that's been, the debate.
Because he wanted a demure brunette, and what does he find on Mars? A demure brunette. So, yeah. Who is not his companion, he just finds her on Mars. So
yeah, that's part of his memory. And she's the same one he dreamed about the day before.
So, or was it a dream, or was it a repressed memory coming to the surface?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think it's a repressed memory coming to the surface. So, well, that's the director's interpretation. I want the writers to tell us. But anyway, he's evading these bad guys who are trying to take him, like, down, because of the fact that he's remembering his past. So he evades them by going to Mars. I don't want to say what a woman has that will stand out, especially for those who haven't seen the movie. Like, Gravy said he hasn't seen it. So I don't want to mention a certain physical feature that a certain woman has.
It's based on.
I want to have his genuine reaction to it.
Isn't it based on a Philip K. Dick story?
Right. I'm looking it up real fast.
Yeah, because the people who remade Total Recall claimed they were just adapting the stuff, but they had basically based the whole thing on the movie script, not the novel.
Based on We Can Remember It for Your Wholesale by Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
He got Alfred's dog. So, practical effects, are so great in the Mars scene. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's got the RoboCop villain too.
Yes.
Oh, same director. He tended to use him, and Ironside, I think.
Yeah. Okay, Gravy knows about it. I didn't want to say it. Didn't say it, basically. but so
Yeah.
yeah, she has a nice smile.
It's got
Princess
Quado in it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the image you basically use when you're like doing the deformed Hitler for the D&D play.
Yeah, I took a picture of him and drew a mustache
Yeah,
on
drew a
him.
Hitler stash on him.
Yeah,
On
really
Quado.
high production value.
Yes. But anyway, Total Recall is number 8 on my list. There's only one scene, but that's like a really like nitpick on my part because of like, again, like what anything that happens to animals in movies sort of situation. There's a scene where Michael Ironside shoots a rat, and I'm like, I love rats. I actually would have rats if I could. Little gripe on my part. Little gripe. I'm like, I did not need to see that. But the overall movie. So I think like it's definitely worth a watch. And I consider this a divorce. Yes. Anyway, Total Recall, my number 8.
Yeah. It's my turn now.
Yes.
Well, here's my third sequel. Young Guns 2 continues Young Guns 1 with less characters because a lot of them are dead after Young Guns first one. It's a fictional version of the story of Billy the Kid. In this one, though, he's basically hunted for most of the movie. They're hunting him down. Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips return as well. They survived the first one. And Christian Slater joins them. Viggo Mortensen is in it too, plays a tracker. And yeah, it's a Western. It's less actiony than the first one. It's more they have to escape the bad guy, or rather the good guys, or whatever you want to call it. Escape the law. And then it ends with a almost like a what if ending to it. What if Billy the Kid survived? Because an old guy back in the day claimed to be Billy the Kid. He faked his death or whatever. Was probably bullshit, but that's what they kind of went with.
Chances are yes. Yeah, chances are yes. Like it was bullshit, but it's interesting to think about in terms of counterfactual history sort of situation. Kind of like what if the South won the Civil War instead of the North? What would happen?
Yeah, soundtrack by Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi has a cameo in it too. It's in the pits at the beginning. I think someone shoots him.
Viggo Mortensen. There, when did this movie come out? I can't remember. But Witness.
Yeah.
With Harrison Ford, where Harrison Ford basically is kind of like protecting this Amish mother and son because her son witnessed the murder of his partner in the bathroom. Like he saw who did it.
Yeah, it's from '86, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I couldn't remember exactly what year it came out, but Viggo Mortensen is in it. He plays one of the Amish citizens. So he's been around since at least the '80s. He's been around for a while. But like I remember like seeing him in that going after I'd seen him in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. But decent Western, I'd say. Young Guns too.
Yeah.
There's talk of a third one now with Emilio Estevez. It's actually listed on IMDb.
Okay, you can't exactly have anyone close to the original cast because that wouldn't be Young Guns.
No, but it looks like Lou Diamond Phillips is going to be in it.
So he's not a bad actor.
No, and he kind of his ending was left open in the first one. So maybe I don't think they should. They can do it, but I don't think they should.
Well, just because they can doesn't mean they should.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's like, I'd rather just leave it at the second one. Just even if some of their stories are open ended, just like leave it up to interpretation at this point.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
for example, with like Boondocks 3, like that's kind of like now official. I'm like, you know what? It's been so long since that news was out that was planned. I'm like, at this point, just no, just leave it at 2.
yeah, and with Young Guns, it's been over 30 years, so it's like it's been too long. You know,
So,
the hype is gone, isn't it?
so I'd say I would agree with you to an extent, but like Top Gun Maverick showed that like you could have that 30-year hiatus and still have a good sequel. But then again, no one knew that was being planned, and that worked with the particular character. I don't see how it would work with Young Guns.
Plus, Tom Cruise is still a huge name.
I know. I'm just saying but like the sequel could have still been bad, even with Tom Cruise being a huge name. It was good in my opinion, but at the same time, it's like that came out of nowhere and surprised everyone. This here, like I said, like, there's no way I can see that they would be able to do a Young Guns 3 because one, like, it's like there's like no, I would say there's no real market for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Beetlejuice does look like it could potentially be good, and the only reason why I say that is because Tim Burton is like connected to it, so it's not like a different writer and director. So this is something that Tim Burton, like, this is like a Tim Burton baby.
Plus, it's a cult classic.
Yeah, I just saying I don't know. It could be good. It could potentially be good given that Michael Keaton has returned in the title role. Winona Ryder returned as an older Lydia. And Tim Burton's connected to it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It has good ingredients.
Yes. First Omen ended up working because it worked, like it was not needed, but it ended up working because it seamlessly kind of tied into the original Omen.
I hated it.
So
I recently watched it.
Yeah.
I thought
again, in terms of its
good.
like prequel, it worked going into the original The Omen. I don't see how they can do a Rosemary's Baby prequel because that's what's planned right now too. So, but anyway, those are our number 8.
Yeah.
Now on number 7.
Yeah, it's my turn. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna wreck one of yours with this.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Was it number 1?
No.
Well, screw you then. I'm just gonna yap about it. It was number 1. Yeah. What's to say about it though? It's a movie based on a cartoon, I guess.
No, well, it was actually a comic first, then it was a cartoon, and then it was a movie.
Yeah.
So.
And they did a damn good job.
Yeah.
It's so well made. The Ninja Turtles look fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Soundtrack is great. The villain's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it has any flaws.
No, again, like one of the critiques I had, like when Orange Hat and I were talking about the sequel, is how they made the sequel so lighthearted because people were complaining about how dark the first movie was, and I'm like, it's not that dark. In terms of tone,
no.
But that was like one of the complaints. So they basically lightened the sequel as a result of that, which I think, like, in some cases kind of worked, and then in other cases didn't. With Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, but yeah, the original was dark, so it's like it's not like they were inaccurate to the comic.
For some reason, they didn't have Bebop and Rocksteady in it. They had the 2 other ones.
Yeah, well, they created those, for the movie, so. Which
was kind of baffling because everyone wanted to see Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
And you were judging me, Trey. I at least had it on my list. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say this is a 9 out of 10. It's about, I'd put it in the same street as, Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of flawless. It really shows off practical effects. It has the right blend of humor and, in this case, action.
Mm-hmm.
it's the mix that works, I think.
Yeah.
And this is the best the Ninja Turtles have ever looked on screen.
Yeah, I like it's basically all practical effects. I mean,
Yeah.
they like actually, you have actors wearing those suits, and I love how basically, um, the actors wearing the suits, like who are doing the physical work within the suits as the turtles, have cameos of sorts in other roles in the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, Ms. Martin
And
Muses.
and I don't hate the new ones.
The turtles are too
I
big, in my opinion. They're too
Yes,
big, in my
yeah,
opinion.
they are too big. But it's this is this one is probably, if I had to make a top 10 90s
Hmm.
movie of the whole 90s, might be on it, because it just does whatever it's supposed to do almost perfectly
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Hmm. And yeah, one of Sam Rockwell's first movies. So it's like another one where it's like he's been around for a while.
And the Casey Jones guy is awesome.
Elias Codius, I think that's how his name is pronounced. Like he's again another underrated actor.
Yeah, never does a bad job, and he can play anything.
Yeah. So he is kind of like my definitive Casey Jones. But yeah, it's on my list higher up, obviously. So I'll like briefly go into it whenever we get to that point. But yeah, but my number 7 is actually, where is it? This. Back to the Future 3. And as I said earlier in the chat, I actually enjoy. Yeah, no Stephen Amell. No. Nope. I actually enjoy the third Back to the Future over the second one. So actually, probably over the first one, even. But I'd say probably I'd probably go like 3, 1, 2 in order in terms of enjoyment.
3 has a cameo
Mhm.
in A Million Ways to Die in the West. Have you seen that one?
No, I've not seen it.
But what's his name? The guy who wrote Family Guy.
Yeah, I know like I know he's in it. I just never watched it. So
Yeah, he walks by a barn. And there's like electricity flashing inside, so he opens the door and looks inside, and Doc Brown is there with the car, just
okay.
covering it up really quickly, and go, oh, it's a weather experiment.
Yeah. So okay. So McFarlane.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I enjoyed the third one. I like it. Basically, it picks up literally where the second one ended, with like Marty McFly getting that letter that's been sitting in the post office since 1885 to be delivered on a particular date at a particular time, because the last time we had seen Doc, he was zapped by lightning and just the DeLorean just went poof. So where'd he go? We have no idea. But he ended up back in 1885. So Marty is now stuck in 1955, and he has to find the 1955 Doc to send him back to 1980, back to 1885. So the Old West. I that's why I get a kick out of, like, basically he's going to 1955 Doc for help, and he gets put into this ugly cowboy outfit. And Marty McFly is like, I don't think Clint Eastwood wore anything like this. So he's getting help from Doc, who's and not an absent-minded professor of sorts, but one that's like not really in tune with
He's a bit
what would
sloppy.
be accurate. What would be accurate to where Marty's going? Basically, it's like almost comical. And like Marty like encounters Biff's grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen. So like you still have a Tannen character in there, but it's not Biff. But it's played by the same actor as Biff.
And
So
you know
like,
what?
Mhm.
He never gets enough credit for the Back to the Future movies. Everyone's praising Doc and Marty.
Yeah.
But Biff, he plays several roles too.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, there's like basically what like it's not dead letter office, but basically there are sections of like in the mail system where they will hold a letter. So if like if like any instructions are like given that to deliver it at this time, they will hold the letter and deliver it at that time. So like they'll be kept. So it's believable that they would have kept it that whole time.
yeah,
It's just so now basically like Doc has to send the DeLorean back to 1885, and Marty has to basically save Doc because, or like at least get Doc back, and then like in terms like when Marty like gets back there, he finds out like Doc is like the potential of being killed back in 1885, so he has to save him. So. If you're talking about the ending with like the new time machine, so I don't know. That's one of those things where you kind of have to suspend disbelief a little bit.
quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm saying it's like it's like you have to suspend disbelief. Like the ending, yeah, kind of like how did he was able to do this? But again, I enjoyed it, and it did lead into an actual animated series, Back to the Future animated series. That I don't know if anybody knows about that. I watched it when it was on. It was like one of those interesting, enjoyable cartoons to watch, and to follow the adventures of Doc and his family, actually. And I can't remember if Marty McFly made an appearance or not as a character, but it pretty much followed Doc's family. Because he named his kids Jules and Vern. So after the author Jules Verne, because Doc met a woman that he fell in love with back in 1885 time frame, who also loved Jules Verne. Yeah, it's basically Back to the Future 4, yeah. Well, never played the game? I can't remember. I don't think so. I watched the animated series.
There's several games. There's one point-and-click adventure game by Telltale, and there's a Commodore 64 game, which hasn't aged well. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like
so
I don't want to go into like necessarily every detail in this movie, but I think it's excluding the element like of suspending disbelief with the ending of the film. I think it's a decent sequel. They still have good chemistry. Why am I'm blanking on the actor's name who plays Biff, but he did a very good job playing Biff's ancestor, like a good villain in the third movie.
Yeah.
And you see like little Easter eggs here and there in the third movie. Like you see the clock being built in the background. And so basically alluding to the clock tower from the first and second movie. Okay, I couldn't remember if Marty was involved, but Doc's family was the focus. Tom Wilson, thank you, Trey. Tom Wilson, he plays a good douchebag villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if again, I would subjectively, I prefer the third one over the second one in terms of the sequels following the first one.
Me too.
So, but there it is. So number 7 is Back to the Future 3. So now we're on number 6. Now, so don't know if you all are going to judge me or not, but I have 2 animated films on my list. All right, it's this one and then like the one I'm going to talk about, and the next one following it. I think you can figure out what one of the animated films is. But for this one, it's one of the times when Disney was good.
Yeah, Disney used to be really good.
It used to be really good. I used to watch a cartoon with I used to watch a cartoon with the character of Scrooge McDuck, voiced by Alan Young, who's I can't remember if they're nephews or not, but accompanied by Huey, Dewey, and Louie. All right.
Yeah. Donald's nephews.
Yeah, Donald's nephews, but I can't remember the relation to Scrooge McDuck, basically. But you have Huey, Dewey, Louie. All right, you have Webby Vanderquack and Launchpad McQuack.
Yeah.
DuckTales, the movie Treasure of the Lost Lamp. I had to include this film because one, it's good. It's actually a very good animated movie. It's an adventure fantasy, right? Basically trying to find this magic lamp, right? Because Scrooge McDuck basically is like he's all about accumulating wealth. So basically, like he's like aware that there's a magic lamp out there that you grants wishes. So of course he's going to go for it. And there's the evil sorcerer Murloc, and so forth. It's like a really like an adventure, basically taking inspiration from like the classic adventure serials from the the 30s and 40s, things like that, and like an animated tale with Scrooge McDuck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And I grew up watching it a lot.
It's actually my favorite cartoon.
Yeah, they call him Uncle. Okay, they call him Uncle Scrooge.
The movie is the first episodes of the cartoon, really.
Yes. So, and like I said, if we're on now. Oh yeah, Marty invents the frisbee. Yeah, I forgot about that. Hey, K. Robert. So, Gone Up Gold, he just swims in. Yeah, I'm saying it's like it's like again like when Disney was good, when Disney just put out good films, like good stories, with characters that we grew up loving, and it according to the trivia, it did underperform at the box office, but it's like one of those where it's like, I wasn't, yes, I was a lot, alive then, but at the same time, it's like I can't remember, like I don't know why exactly it would have necessarily bombed, unless it's like marketing that like they screwed up.
DuckTales and Donald Duck and all that stuff is extremely popular in my area of the world. I mean, we've had weekly Donald Duck comics since 1958. Think about that. That's a lot of comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is like in my DNA, Donald Duck and DuckTales and stuff like that. It's I even had the PC game, which was all kinds of awesome, and the Nintendo game. I just played I played the remake of it many times now, and it doesn't have a bad game either. Both it's just rock solid. And then they did that stupid reboot where all of them look like angular.
Oh yeah. It came out the week of Die Hard 2. That's most likely why. But
yeah, that didn't help it.
Yeah, Alan Young was a good, good Scrooge McDuck. Christopher Lloyd, whom I just talked about, basically was talking about Back to the Future 3, did the voice of the villain in DuckTales.
Yeah, what's his name? El Capitan, the guy who's kind of working against them.
Yeah,
it's like a trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
He is inspired by the villain in Romancing the Stone.
Yeah,
the Colombian guy has the same mustache, same trench coat and hat.
Yeah, it's very much like like I'd say like in terms of very much inspired by prior films and like again the serials, like the adventure film serials from the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and even if you've never watched any other DuckTales, this one works just fine without it. It's rock solid.
It's its own movie, pretty much. So it's like it's not like you have to watch anything else to understand what's going on.
Yeah,
as long as you know I have a good idea of the characters, pretty much. You don't need to know anything more about that.
Yeah, and Alan Young as Scrooge.
Yeah,
I think he voiced Scrooge for like 40 years at least.
Oh, he voiced Scrooge McDuck for a long time. He was the main character in Mr. Ed. So he's been around for a long while.
He's perfect.
Oh yeah, he was around for a long while. He's no longer alive, but he was like doing voice work and acting for a long time.
I think David Tennant or something has taken over the mantle.
I wouldn't know because I haven't watched anything recent. Nothing like caught my attention. Like it looked like
bad.
Eric. It's like nothing like no hearts behind it.
Gravy D, yes, that's true. He voiced him in the remastered game too, which you can probably get on your Xbox. It's all kinds of awesome.
So, well, maybe at some point. Maybe at some point, getting through BioShock now. So,
Yeah.
but that's my number 6. DuckTales, the movie. I can't speak. Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Yeah.
So,
I'd give that one a solid 8.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
but anyway, that's my number 6.
Yeah. It was my turn now,
Yes.
I think. My number 6 is a movie a friend of mine had on VHS. I've seen it 50 times at least. It's a Van Damme movie, my first Van Damme movie, Lionheart, which is called Wrong Bet, which is also called AWOL, which is probably why it flopped because it had 3 titles.
Yes.
But I don't know if it flopped. It probably didn't, but it probably didn't help either. But Van Damme plays a Foreign Legion soldier. His brother gets his brother's a criminal, and I think it's in L.A. He gets banged up and set on fire by some drug dealers, and Van Damme has to escape the Foreign Legion, which is a big no-no. You don't do that, and get to L.A. So he sneaks aboard a ship, and then I think he jumps ship in New York and starts fighting for money so he can get to where he needs to go. And then later he continues fighting for money so he can give the money to his now dead brother's wife and kid. All the while the Foreign Legion people are searching for him. Really good fighting in this one. This is I personally, I think this movie has better fight scenes than Bloodsport overall. And Van Damme's actually doing good acting in this. It's not just a martial arts movie at all. He actually does, oddly enough, show a bit of range. He's trying to care for that kid.
Yeah. I think, like, Van Damme is not the best actor, but I think it's like he was never given the chance and the guidance to show that he could, because like he was, while the second Expendables is, to me a step, obviously a step down a little bit from the first movie, I think he played a good villain.
Yeah.
So like he shows that he can do it. It's just
it's kind of like Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
It's like every third movie his acting is really good.
Yes.
And then he's not. But you're not watching him for great acting, though. You're watching it for the fight stuff. And this movie
but at
delivers.
the same time, it's like he's shown that he can.
Yeah. This movie delivers on the martial arts stuff. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, I think you'd like it.
What was the exact title again?
Lionheart.
Lionheart.
Yeah, it could be named AWOL and it could be named Wrong Bet. So
I'd have to try looking it up because I don't think I've ever heard the name, either of those names. But who is the best actor of the '80s martial arts stars? Chuck Norris is up there.
Yeah, it's not
Cynthia
Van Damme.
Rothrock is up there.
Actually, it's probably Jackie Chan.
Well, I'm saying like Jackie Chan. I'm going through like just like 80s, 90s in terms of martial arts stars. Van Damme, obviously. He's not a star, but what's his name? Al Long. So he was a face like you would see in a lot of movies.
Yeah, it probably is Jackie Chan though, given the Hong Kong movies.
Yeah,
he was pouring them out. Chuck Norris didn't do that much.
Okay, thank you.
Chuck Norris didn't do that much martial arts in the 80s.
No, but he was a name, so like. He might not have done much, but he was a name because he did martial arts. So he's an actual martial artist.
Yeah.
So, hey, Girl Falcon. I'm just saying, he was well known, even if he didn't do a lot. He was well known. So when he did it, so, but yeah. So we're on number 5.
Yeah, my number 5 is Total Recall, and again, you know what? I think my friend's Total Recall copy was on the same videotape where he had Die Hard 2. so because he could fit 2 movies on one.
Yeah, depending on how you recorded it, you could fit more than one movie on. Let's go figure, chaps.
Yeah, just skip the credits and make sure every minute counts. But yeah, Total
Change
Recall.
Recording speed. You can record multiple things, like 2, 3 things on a tape. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Anyway, we've talked about Total Recall, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
There's not that much to say about it, really.
No. Well, my number 5 is another animated film. Again, I had to include it because it's one of the movies where I loved it when I was a kid, watched it a lot. Again, for Ron, even now, I would still watch it. So judge all you want. Saying I'm an adult, and I would say I would watch the shit out of these animated films. And that is Rescuers Down Under. I actually saw Rescuers Down Under before I saw the original Rescuers. And as much as I enjoy the original Rescuers, I actually prefer the sequel to the original, basically. But it's the same kind of premise from the first movie, where these mice, all right, okay, voiced by Bob Newhart and Ava Gabor, okay, they're part of an organization called the Rescuers. So you have Bernard and Miss Bianca, basically that's the characters' names. Bernard voiced by Bob Newhart and Miss Bianca voiced by Ava Gabor, who are sent on a mission down under to rescue a kid named Cody, who has basically been taken prisoner by the poacher, voiced by George C. Scott. And the poacher is after this golden eagle that the boy rescued at the beginning of the film. So basically the boy rescued this eagle at the beginning of the film and kind of formed a bond with the eagle. And the poacher wants to use the kid to actually get to the eagle and also get to the eagle's, use the eagle's eggs basically to lure this kid. So like one point, basically he lets the kid go because he wants to try to lay a trap for them. All right. I can't remember who voiced the original Albatross in the Rescuers. I can't remember the actor's name, but they brought in John Candy for the voice of the Albatross in this one. So the Albatross in the first movie was called George, and the one in the second one is called Wilbur, basically alluding to the Wright brothers, George and Wilbur Wright. And Wilbur is voiced by John Candy. The poacher is voiced by George C. Scott, who has probably one of the most iconic voices in acting, not just voice acting, but acting in general, who demonstrates that despite his voice, he can play both a good character and a villain. And because of his voice, he's very much an iconic villain character in this one. Yeah, there is a first. It's just called The Rescuers. Animators did shit a lot back then to see what they could get away with in the original cartoons.
I don't think I've actually seen those 2 movies. I saw some episodes of the animated show, which was probably from around 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I saw the Rescuers Down Under first before the original, and the original I think is good. The original I believe is a good animated film. I just prefer the sequel, but so. But the kid's name is Cody, and like I said, basically the organization, the Rescuers, is going to rescue this kid, much like they rescued the kid in the first movie. It just now takes place down under. And much like Disney films, the kid, Cody can talk to animals. So it's like one of those Disney-esque elements added to the film. Jim Jordan, thank you. I couldn't remember his name, but Orville. Why did I say George? Orville Wright. Orville and Wilbur Wright. The Wright brothers. And so basically, so they bring John Candy was brought in to voice Wilbur for Albatross Air. Basically, so it's like basically he's an albatross, and they use him to fly to Australia. So,
It's easy to forget about animated movies with these lists.
so kind of that's why I go through the, like, you know, I go on like basically Wikipedia and I write down, I go through down the list of films released in a particular year, so I can write down, because I know inevitably I would have forgotten that this movie was released in 1990. I would have forgotten it because not because I you know I would have forgotten the movie, but I would have forgotten that it was released in that year. Same with DuckTales. I would have forgotten it was released in that year if I had not gone down that list, because there's just in terms of that overlooking, because I'm thinking of live action films. So, but I said if it were on now, I don't care that it's an animated movie. I don't care that it's made for kids. I would sit down and watch it because it's one of my favorite Disney cartoons. Back when Disney was fucking good.
Yeah.
Not what it is today.
Which is why a lot of people are pissed, really, because Disney used to be so damn good.
Yes.
And now it's so damn bad. It's shocking to see how...
Shocking how bad it's become.
Yeah. I mean, even up until 2010, Disney was pretty great. You know, when they did when they started the MCU and all, you know, Iron Man and all that stuff. Oh, they didn't, did they? They bought it.
Yeah, they bought it because Iron Man was 2008. Same with the Incredible Hulk. But they bought the rights. So basically, the first MCU films weren't Disney.
Yeah.
They bought the rights and continued the movies. So,
but when they, you know, the early MCU stuff was fantastic.
Yeah, because they felt like different movie. You were watching different movies. Now it's like I can pretty much call the fucking plots. Yeah. It's like take an outline, just change some things, and they shoot out a movie. So,
but that's why, you know, a lot of people had hopes when they bought Star Wars, because they were doing so well with the MCU at that point. You know,
even then I would have been like, no, they weren't. I mean, they got lucky, in my opinion. Yeah. But like,
well, in hindsight,
no, I'm saying even then I was like, yeah, they got lucky because they really weren't that good. They were kind of like, you know, cookie cutter in terms of quality. In my opinion, if you like them, I'm saying like in terms of like quality.
Yeah. Well, they had the Pirates of the Caribbean too, and a lot of those 3D animated movies.
Yeah, I'm saying like, you know, it's like there were like good things that were coming out, but what my trepidation set in when they said that they were throwing out the EU. I was like, I was still one of the ones where I was like, okay, let's see where you're going to go with this. But I was like, ugh. Like, you're literally throwing out blueprints that you could use. Like, where the fuck, what the fuck are you doing?
I thought they were gonna use it because they said it in the thing with Lucas.
Yeah, but then they said they weren't. They were throwing it, like essentially decanonizing it, and I was like, that's not a good sign.
Nope.
Anyway, so that is my number 5, Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
Actually, I might do a watch that. Yeah, I think you should. It's like I think a good cartoon.
Yeah.
And George C. Scott is a good villain. Well, he voices a good villain, basically, and he has a lizard companion called Joanna. So
I don't think there's any of the old Disney movies that I've hated.
Yeah.
And they were on a roll in the 90s, though, with I guess the big hit started with the Little Mermaid.
Because that was Little Mermaid was like 89.
Yeah, and then Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin kicked off, and then Lion King. That was a winning streak there.
Yeah, they did no wrong pretty much in the early to mid 90s. So they pretty much did no wrong in quality. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So now we're on number 4.
Yep. Your turn, I think.
Yes, my number 4 is a Christmas movie. No, Aladdin was 92. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Trace it was 92.
I think your Christmas movie might be wrecking one of mine.
So most likely, it is basically by the family is one of the worst families ever. The parents are fine. But overall, worst family. And what does this worst family do? They accidentally forget one of their kids at home.
Yeah,
Now, when you're growing up as a kid, it's a dream come true, essentially.
to a
Because
point.
now you have to run to the house. No one tell
Yeah.
you what to do and what to not to do. Yeah, it's the one you missed, Trey. McAllister, like there is a video on YouTube where like the person's kind of like doing a summation of Home Alone, and he calls them like one of the worst families, and they are pretty much one of the worst families. I had to leave Kindergarten Cop off the list, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so really the first I kind of prefer 2 as well over the first one, because really, but the first one I love, like I do still love, but it really doesn't really find its comedic legs until the trap scenes. Hey, Apollo Patriot.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
really, because it's a good movie. It's a decent family movie, like overall with some exceptions. But it really doesn't find its comedic timing until the traps.
The actors who play the Wet Bandits are what sells the movie completely.
Yeah, I'm saying like, they are like those characters played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern playing the Wet Bandits, and like basically they're these guys, like they're criminals. They case homes by dressing like you see Joe Pesci at the beginning of the movie. He's dressed as a cop. That's how they get into homes to find out when families are going to be gone and things like that. So they case the neighborhoods to know which houses are going to be empty during the Christmas season, so they can rob them. So, a little trivia back to when we were talking about Lethal Weapon 2 for the 1s and 2s. The OK on like the side of like the van that they drive, the plumbing van to kind of hide like their cover, is from Lethal Weapon 2, because his character in Lethal Weapon 2 kept saying okay. So they made the plumbing company OK Plumbing because of that. Yeah, and Joe Pesci trying not to swear was like gold. He physically was like, you could tell he was like physically trying not to swear during those scenes. Like those scenes with the traps, like just were. Even my dad was like gut busting laughing at these scenes, at the trap scenes.
And the house is the same one from Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Yeah, and
Right.
Pesci, he has range. Like you wouldn't know it to hear him speak, but he actually has range as an actor.
I actually think he is. Well, he is massively underrated.
Yes.
But I think he's up there with De Niro and all those, Gene Hackman, in terms of acting skill.
Mm-hmm.
But he never really gets credit for it.
Yeah, good old fashioned slapstick from Pesci, inspired by the Stooges. Yes, and John Candy's in it as well. Like I wouldn't say a cameo, but more like a small role, because like he's part of this polka band.
He did it as a favor.
The US. Yeah,
he did it. Yeah, for the director.
Yeah. So kind of a small role. Kind of like also a reunion, because John Candy and Catherine O'Hara. Catherine O'Hara plays the mother in the Home Alone films. Both he and she were on SCTV, so it's kind of a reunion of sorts with those actors.
Because of one scene in it, this movie would have gotten an R rating today. It's the smoking Santa.
Yeah, it would have gone in.
So that's how messed up it is today. Home Alone would have gotten an R rating.
The movies I grew up watching from like the 80s and 90s, I'm saying like that is stupid. But I'm looking at like the movies from the 80s, like before the rating system changed, and how like some movies that would definitely be rated R nowadays were like PG-13.
Yeah.
So Yeah, and I love the scene with the neighbor at the church because up to that point, like Kevin McAllister was afraid of him. But it's like a very heartwarming scene where it's like, it's like they like actually having a conversation in church and finding out details about his neighbor, which is like again like very sweet.
I had a neighbor like that kids were
Mhm.
kind of afraid of.
Yeah.
Not even kidding. And then I had to sell lottery tickets. And I had to go from door to door and sell lottery tickets for school.
Mhm.
And got invited in with him and his wife, and they actually made me dinner and gave me like chocolate and stuff, and asked how I was doing in school and asked how my parents were doing. So very similar to that, because if someone looks scary, the kids are going to think he is scary.
hmm Yeah, which
No.
is like like what happens in this movie, and it doesn't help that his brother Buzz, the asshole, kind of like implants and it's
Yeah.
like false stories in Kevin's mind. But yeah, like that's kind of what happens with kids. It's like if it
Yeah.
looks scary, like you don't really want to interact with that person. So
Yeah. Very very realistic.
I fully believe it, Gravy. You're the weird neighbor. All right,
Yeah,
yeah. So
but
Home
he
Alone,
actually is crazy though.
yeah,
So he's not like nice. He's actually gonna beat up the kids and stuff with a shovel.
so but yeah, Home Alone. But it's pretty much like the gist of the movie is Kevin is forgotten by his family because they're traveling, Christmas traveling to Paris, France, and basically basically following Kevin's antics while he's home alone, as well as the mom trying to get back to Kevin by herself while the family stays in Paris. And the trap scene again really made the movie. So
The mom actress still looks after what's his name?
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, there was like an interview with them and stuff. It was like
Mhm.
someone was being honored, and she was checking to see if his jacket was closed and shit, so he wouldn't freeze.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. That's the actress's name.
Yeah, she's like treating him as a kid still.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 4. So now we're on number 3.
Yeah. No, I have number 4 left.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So
Yeah.
number 4.
I have, well, my number 4 is massively underrated, and this is homework for everyone who hasn't seen it because it's a 10 out of 10. Treasure Island from 1990. They follow the book to a T. The movie is made for TV, but you can't tell because it looks high budget as heck. It has Christian Bale in the lead. Charlton Heston is in it. Christopher Lee, Oliver Reed, Pete Postlethwaite, Julian Glover. I mean, think about that cast just for a TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. Fantastic soundtrack.
That version I
Um,
have to see because I've seen other versions to include the Muppet version,
yeah,
but that one I have not seen.
yeah. This is every actor is perfectly cast, and I saw the making of the movie, and Charlton Heston said this is as close as anyone will ever get to putting the book accurately on screen,
Mm-hmm.
and he's right. This is a perfect adaptation, um, but made for TV with that cast. It's I still don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it
Uh,
happens. Like there's a wasn't like it was more of a mini series, like in terms of like movies, but not based on a book, but Rough Riders. You wouldn't exactly know it was made for TV. Like it was like better quality than like a lot of made for TV movies
yeah,
back in the 90s. But it like basically it's again, don't get your history from Hollywood, but it's a very entertaining account of the Rough Riders Regiment helmed by Teddy Roosevelt in 1898 during the Spanish American War in Cuba.
Oh, and
Mhm.
for those of you who watched the Black Sails show that aired a few years ago, that's a prequel to Treasure Island, and this is the perfect way to end it. This movie. because basically Black Sails is where the pirates bury the treasure, rather. Um, so it's about the it's about the bad guys when they were younger, and Treasure Island is about one of the characters from Black Sails who survived, who has the map,
Okay.
and they're trying to find him and hunt him down and take the map. But then stuff happens. Uh, yeah,
I think you'd enjoy it, Trey. Like I said, don't get your history necessarily from Hollywood, but Tom Berenger plays Teddy Roosevelt, and this is the same actor that played Longstreet in Gettysburg. So it's like that, he was also in, was it the first Major League movie? But anyway, Tom Berenger is again an actor that's underrated, has range, plays Teddy Roosevelt. Gary Busey's in it, right? But it's basically a historical account of the forming of the Rough Riders. So it's very entertaining. Like I said, you would, its quality is so good that you would, in my opinion, would not be able to tell it was a made-for-TV miniseries.
Oh.
It's very good. Sam Elliott's also in it. I forgot. Sam Elliott is also in it. Chris Noth is in it as well. There's some names actually in this movie.
Heck, Lonesome Dove. That was made for TV. Robert Duvall and holy crap.
Part of me wants to say I don't remember Tom Berenger being in Saving Private Ryan.
He's in Platoon.
Yeah, I know he's in Platoon, but I don't remember him at all being in Saving Private Ryan. Do you want to I don't think people remember this, but do you want to have your minds blown on who was in Saving Private Ryan? Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Bet most of you didn't remember that. He was in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. He carried a letter for a while, which was not a good thing.
No.
But yeah, anyway, Treasure Island. And Trey, if you're in there, watch it and review it. You're going to love it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember Ted Dancing being in Saving Private Ryan, not Tom Berenger. So I don't remember Tom Berenger at all.
Nathan Fillion, too.
Yeah, there's that is another movie that I know is going to be in my top 10 when we get to that year.
Heck yes. It's one of the best war movies ever made.
Yeah. Because I was just talking about recently with my sister and my dad. Because my sister was watching basically scenes on YouTube from it, and it's it's a mini series, so it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long, but an entertaining watch in my opinion. And thank you for the super chat, Tina. Thank you for enjoying the stream. Very much appreciate it. But I it's it's a mini series, so it's going to be a longish movie. But in my opinion, like I said, it's entertaining. So, but anyway, so we are on now number 3.
Yep, and it's my turn.
Yes.
I have Tremors.
So do I. Further up.
1. Oh, further down, rather.
Further down, yes.
Is it number 1?
Yeah, it's number 1.
You can take over and talk about it.
All right. I was gonna say it's
that's a good house rule.
Yes.
Whoever has it as number 1 or whatever.
So yeah, well, we'll talk to it when we get to my number 1. My number 3 is a sequel.
Well, I can say some stuff though.
Yeah, I'm saying I mean, we'll really talk it when it gets to my number 1. But
basically, Tremors flopped, but it made its money back, and a lot on top of that from VHS rentals and sales. So it was one of those where I don't get why it flopped if people liked it that much, on VHS. But
sometimes it's not so much that it's more sometimes marketing doesn't help. If it's released in a time when another bigger movie's released, that'll hurt it at the box office. trying to think when exactly it was released. January 19th, 1990. January's also always been bad for releases.
Yeah, this is more like a summer movie. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in the desert. There's no snow, and
January's
but
more often than not has always been like the release month for movies that studios have no faith in.
yeah,
So
which is you know, self-fulfilling prophecy, really.
yeah, I'm saying
But
it's like it's one of those catch-22s with Hollywood. So
yeah, but you know, like I said with Turtles, and I mentioned Gremlins as well. This
Mhm.
is just a movie where the sum of all its parts just works. It's the combination. It's so rewatchable. It's ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, I'll save the rest for so you can talk about it later. But
Yeah.
yeah, one of the most rewatchable movies I know.
Yes. But anyway, so yeah, we'll talk more about it. But my third one is a sequel, and I had to include it because of the fact that I absolutely love the first movie, and I enjoy the second one for what it is. It's a different tone from the first movie, but I think it overall works with what they were going for, and that's Gremlins 2: New Batch. Basically, like the first one came out in 1984. This is about 6 years later. It follows Billy and what's the female character's name? Kate.
You know what?
Mhm.
Uh, the more I watch Gremlins 2, the less I like it. I
It's
noticed
one of
that
those ones where it's like it's not as good as the first one. I kind of like subjectively enjoy it. I will admit it's objectively not as good as the first one, and there's some things about it, like the beginning in particular, that don't make any sense. I did appreciate the fact that um, Julian Glover. I did appreciate the fact that he didn't play like
no, it's not Julian Glover.
it's
Um,
it's
it's another Glover.
yeah, it's another Glover. I'm blanking on his first name. Not I was like that's, but like he
Is it
did not
John?
play. Is it John Glover? Yeah, it begins with a J. I'm tired, so forgive me. But like I appreciated that he didn't play, um, like a stereotypical bad guy, where like he's all about greed and things like that. He's one of those ones like where his heart's in the right place, but his brain's not quite there sometimes, sort of situation. Like he's not a bad guy. Thank you, John Glover. Yes, he's not a bad guy, but he's all about technology easing people's lives. Not Crispin Glover. Definitely not Crispin Glover. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Um, but like that. Like so, basically, his heart's in the right place, but he doesn't correctly think things through when it comes to technology, and it's like kind of like it's a social commentary on over reliance on technology, sort of situation within Gremlins 2. And like the one also gripe that I had was that I did not really like. I didn't mind the redesigns of the Gremlins. I did not like the Goofy one because I'm like,
I thought that took it too far.
yeah, I'm saying
That's
like
why-
it's like it doesn't make any sense with what the Gremlins are supposed to be.
Yeah, they're supposed to be evil, not
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying like given like the first one, how like they are the antithesis to Gizmo. Like they there should not be a Goofy one, pretty much. Yeah, the Spider one was creepy as fuck. Because like basically there's a genetics lab in this building, and some of the Gremlins start drinking some of the things that they're not supposed to drink, and like the results. You love the Goofy one. I'm saying I'm like in turn like because I love the first one. I love like the dark comedy to it and how the Gremlins are. It's like look, how the Gremlins look. Then when the second one came out, it's like, I'm like 50. I'm like 50-50 when it comes to the redesign. So
I think Tommy has all of them. Though that's a NECA figure, right?
Yeah, I want the caroling gremlins. I want them for Christmas. So, because I have it's not
That
NECA,
would be a
like Gizmo
awesome.
on the box, and he's wearing a Christmas hat.
The caroling gremlins would be an awesome Christmas decoration.
Yeah, that's what I want. So, the mobster gremlin is from the first movie. So yeah. NECA brand is pretty expensive. But yeah, so I still had to include it because like subjectively I do enjoy watching the sequel to Gremlins. I prefer the tone of the first one, but I if the Gremlins 2 were on, I'd sit down and watch it because there are cameos that I like. I like, there's a Rambo homage to it. Hulk Hogan has a cameo. Like basically breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool was breaking the fourth wall in this film, because the Gremlins like cut Gremlins 2 film because they want to show Snow White, and then you have Hulk Hogan basically threatening to break them in half. So Christopher Lee is the head of the genetics lab, so yeah.
And the two twins from Terminator 2.
Yeah. So they're part of the genetics lab as well. One of my favorite scenes is is part of the interview scene. I absolutely die laughing at this part. It's dark humor, but I die laughing, and that's when the brain gremlin shoots the other gremlin when he's talking about how uncivilized people have become. And he's like, take this fellow, for instance, and he kind of just shoots them. So it's like, was this, and that goes back to talking about civilization. So anyway, but Gremlins 2 is my number 3. All right, so what's your number 2? Because my number 2 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mine is Home Alone. So have at it.
Okay. Well, then you'll talk about your impression of Home Alone.
Yeah, you've already talked about it, didn't you? I was mixing it up with Tremors.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's like, but I'm gonna really briefly go into it because like you already talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where it's like the best, I think, live action adaptation. The practical effects still hold up to this day. Like Judith Hogue as April O'Neil, just like basically chef's kiss, perfect casting. Elias Koteas, perfect casting for Casey Jones. I love the cameos of the actors that did the practical movements and the suits for the turtles. They have like little cameos. Like the pizza delivery guy is the guy who plays Michelangelo. The guy in the cab is the guy who plays Raphael, and so forth. So they have cameos throughout the movie. I love Kevin Clash, who voices Splinter, is like the Splinter live action. Well, it's a puppet, but the live action adaptation of Splinter, the best version of Splinter we have gotten since the original cartoon. And basically, it's like crime is like rampant in the city. Kids are being used as by the Foot Clan to steal basically everything and anything that's not nailed down to fund the criminal empire run by Shredder, who happens to be the man who killed Splinter's old owner. Because Splinter was a pet rat before he came in contact with the ooze, and really he went into detail basically, but yeah. So basically, it follows the turtles. They have to Splinter is kidnapped by the Foot Clan. Turtles have to rescue him. They have to learn to work together. There's clashes amongst in particular between Leo and Raph on how to approach the situation, which I love the differing personalities, obvious differing personalities amongst the turtles even, and the culmination of the last fight scene with the Foot Clan and Splinter's encounter with Shredder love. So, but yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my number 2. Yep. You can talk about Home
My
Alone.
number 1.
Well, so, well, you can talk about Home Alone real fast. So,
Yeah, well, almost a perfect Christmas movie.
Mhm.
And I guess a great comedy. Like I said, the thieves sell it. It's kind of like, the movie has a heck of a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And it has become a classic. Definitely, it has.
Mhm.
And I pretty much rewatch it every year.
Yeah. Well, I will even put it on, like, like the closer it gets to Christmas. It's like always not always on, but it's like of Christmas movies we put on, it's like given that we'll be watching it. Are you talking about Mutant Mayhem? Because Splinter was voiced by Jackie Chan. Unless there was like another version I'm not aware of where Tony Shalhoub voiced him. If you're talking about the recent one, that was Jackie Chan, not Tony Shalhoub. But anyway, so yeah. Number 1.
Yeah, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I have one that I'm shocked is not on your list. Predator 2.
I'm saying I had to leave certain things off. So, like, if I was a top 20, it would have been on. But
Yeah,
the other live action movie. Okay, all right. Thank you.
I'm just surprised you left that one out.
Well, it's like, again, like I left RoboCop 2 and Die Hard 2 off the list. Like, quite a few action movies. So,
Yeah.
because I'm narrowing it down to 10. So it's like, again, like these are movies that I'm like adding both like rewatchability, nostalgia, things like that. I had more nostalgia for certain films than I did for like Predator 2, as much as I enjoyed Predator 2.
Predator 2 was my first Predator movie, actually. Same friend who I borrowed movies from had this one. He had an original too, with the Predator on top of the building on the cover. It just looked awesome. But this is a damn good sequel, and it dares to be different. This is a more personal Predator, I think, story than the first one, where it's basically a bunch of guys in trouble. And maybe this one's a bit more psychological because the Predator starts stalking one man.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit of a cat and mouse angle to it versus just hunting a group, like in the first Predator.
Yeah, and this one has some fantastically gritty scenes. When it's just so well done when the Predator kills the voodoo guy, because he screams and then it just switches up to the Predator carrying the screaming head.
Yeah,
I thought that was amazing, and Bill Paxton's in it. He is great in this one.
Bill Paxton, who's been killed by a xenomorph, a Yautja, and
a Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator.
Here's the thing, though: was he killed by a xenomorph? Because he got dragged into a hole. So people who got caught alive were taken.
Whether or not he was like directly killed by a xenomorph or not, I'm most likely he was cocooned. Either way, he's dead.
Oh yeah, but was it the nuke who killed him, rather?
So I'm just saying. I was saying. Part of me thinks probably the nuke ultimately was the thing that killed him, because like the gestation period for the chestbuster would not have been that fast. But he was dead either way. So even if he like left with them, he was going to die anyway. So.
Yeah. I mentioned Gary Busey was in it. Gary Busey was great. And Gary Busey read all the Predator material that was available. So he knew the lore going in. And there's a video on YouTube where he's talking about it. And he is explaining exactly how the Predator wrist bomb thing, if that goes off in a city,
Mhm.
he just gave a lecture on how it would affect the human body and everything. And he explained why Arnold's not in the movie because Busey's character has basically kidnapped him to interrogate him and stuff, and he's run away. So, so he's kind of looking for Arnold
Mhm.
at that point, which is in the novels. Gary Busey just consumed all of it and knew everything by heart.
Yeah, like back
know?
when actors actually cared about honoring the source material,
Yeah,
knowing like that information going into the film.
yeah. So it's just, and nowadays the people making sequels to these movies can't even do that.
No.
But Gary Busey could. So I got a shitload of respect for Gary Busey after that. But yeah, Bill Paxton, he is definitely dead in this movie.
Oh, definitely. Like,
Oh,
there's he did not survive at all.
That is pretty damn graphic. It's
Yes.
horrific.
Mhm.
And the scene where the predator attacks the people on the on the train,
Mhm.
made so much sense because all of them were armed.
Yeah.
You know?
But
So
like Predator does let the female cop go because
yeah, she's pregnant.
Yeah, because like it knows, it can sense that she's pregnant.
Yeah, it sees the heartbeat.
Yeah, so it's like because like it's I like so like she became a protected class at that point.
Yeah.
But like again, though, how the Alcha works, if you're not a threat to it, it doesn't consider you worthy.
Yeah.
As prey, essentially.
Yeah. This movie is like an 8.5 in my opinion. I actually had Miss Morton Muses watch it. She had never watched the Predator movies before, and she really liked the second one too.
Yeah.
But back in the day, Dark Horse did Predator and Terminator comics.
Mm-hmm.
Both were they're 10 out of 10s. This one borrows from that comic, and so does Terminator 2 borrows from the Terminator comics actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, Predator 2, awesome, so rewatchable. Danny Glover's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you have the four cops, right? You have a Latino cop, you have a Latina cop, a black guy, and Bill Paxton. Diversity.
Yes,
That's
actual
not
diversity.
yeah, and since I'm white, I'm supposed to hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, and I get this. Like there are bad bloods among the Alcha that will kill without honor, but typically there is that honor system within within the Alcha.
Yeah,
so
when it comes to canon with Alien and Predator, I actually looked this up. The AVP stuff is canon to Predator, not to Alien.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So, yeah. So it's Alien is its own thing. Doesn't have anything to do with AVP. It's just a spin-off in regards to that. But with Predator, the AVP stuff counts.
Okay. I have to go back and rewatch the AVP movies, and that will include the second one. Whatever I can see, whatever I can see in it.
Yeah. Well, AVP 1, black female lead.
Yeah.
No outcry, oddly enough.
No, none. And she was like an actual decent character.
Yeah, she was awesome. I was hoping for her in the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But and the only really big gripe I have with the AVP 1 is that it's PG-13.
Yeah, like it's kind of like there's like certain IPs that should not be anything less than R.
Yeah, Alien, Terminator, and Predator.
It's like with certain comic book characters, like they tried a PG-13 Deadpool, and I'm like, that's not going to work. No. There was rumors that the new Blade movie in the MCU is going to be PG-13. I'm like, that's not going to work.
Look what happened to RoboCop when they went PG-13.
Yeah, like it does not work. Like basically the theatrical release for Expendables 3 was PG-13. When that movie was being released, and I saw the rating, I was like, you are shooting yourselves in the fucking foot, because the people that you're aiming towards, the younger kids, weren't able to fucking watch the first two, so why do you care?
Yeah, and Conan as well. The second Conan movie with Arnold, PG-13.
Yeah.
Because the studio owner thought, yeah, this is like with knights and stuff. It should be for kids. No,
Yeah.
it should not.
No. No, not everything has to be, kid friendly.
Yeah, Conan was never kid friendly.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my number. My number one, Predator 2.
My number one is Tremors.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, really? Yes.
Sorry
Tremors,
about that.
basically. Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, I kind of have to wrap this up because I have to take my dog out. But basically, did not do well at the box office at all, but it became a cult classic following the release on VHS, and it stars Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Reba McEntire, Michael Gross, and so forth. And basically, these characters live in a town called Perfection, Nevada. All right, Perfection, Nevada, and
which used to be called Rejection.
Yes, but
if you watched the prequel.
They find the body of one of the residents who appears to have died from dehydration because he refused to move. Unfortunately, I had to leave Dick Tracy off my list again because if it was top 20, definitely would have been on. But I did see Dick Tracy. I remember, Dick Tracy starring Warren Beatty. Madonna was in it. I love the villains. Was it Al Pacino that played? Can't remember if Al Pacino played in it or not. I want to say yes. He was one of the bad guys, like the main bad guy. But like the bad guy's names, like Flat Top, things like that. But anyway, Tremors basically Perfection, Nevada, and Big Boy. Yeah, I was remembering correctly. All right, so he appears to have died from dehydration because he did not want to move from where he was, basically. And long story short, they find out why, which essentially goes into the title of the film. Because there are these creatures, these big worms that are burrowed underground, and the way they find you is through the vibrations of your movement. Tremors. So it becomes basically a literal standoff trying to survive in this like bumfuck middle of nowhere residence or establishment, for one better way of calling it, because it's trailers trying to survive.
It's also based on that kids game where the floor is lava.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it ends up, because they go to the tops of their trailers, and they're stuck there for trying to figure out how to get from one point to another without alerting these worms where they are. Your graboids. So it's again, I'm assuming because it was released in January and seen as a B movie is probably why it did not do well at the box office. But it is a good movie. It's Burt Gummer became the face of the franchise. He was hysterical because Reba McEntire played his wife, and they're basically the gun nuts. For one of everybody, gun nuts. So
Kevin Bacon didn't want to be in the second one because the first one didn't do well, and I think he said several times he rejects it. He regrets it even. Because the movie has grown on him. He said the movie people ask him the most about is Tremors.
Yeah, because it's one of those hidden gems essentially that basically that became a cult classic with the release of the VHS, because more people people why I didn't see this in theaters, so let me check it out, and wow, this is actually good. This is actually good. Fred Ward, may he rest in peace. He passed away not too long ago. We're talking about underrated actors. He's an underrated actor. He's very good. He can play both a villain and a good guy.
Christy was heartbroken. According to Christy, she watches the whole damn series 4 or 5 times a year. She's done it forever. It's like her go-to thing.
Well, in Kevin Bacon's defense, the first Friday the 13th is not good. I mean, it's a good mystery kind of slasher movie, but the reveal is what kills it.
Yeah, it's because who else could it be?
Yeah. The reveal kills it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Trey is right. Stop at Tremors 4.
Yeah.
4 is actually better than 3 in my opinion.
But anyway, yeah. So, but if you have not seen Tremors, I recommend watching it. And like, it's one of the, like, again, a franchise where it's like the sequels they're good. They're not necessarily as good as the first movie, but through 4, rare instances where it's like you can enjoy them post the first movie.
The second one isn't far off, I think.
Yeah. So it's a rarity where it's like they're just as enjoyable. After 4, no. Basically, but
Oh yeah, really bad.
but through 4, rare instance where it's like they're all enjoyable to a degree. Like,
Yeah.
So even without Kevin Bacon. So, but anyway, yeah. So if you have not seen it or Tremors through 4, I recommend watching them. But yeah, that's my list. Top 10 films 1990.
I guess we should go through them all.
Yeah. So, okay. Recap mine. Starting with 10. Madhouse, which I'll be interested in people's opinion of that if they watch it, with Jonathan Arquette and Kirstie Alley. Child's Play 2, Total Recall, Back to the Future 3, DuckTales the Movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp, Rescuers Down Under, Home Alone, Gremlins 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Tremors.
I have Another 48 Hours, Die Hard 2, Young Guns 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lionheart, Total Recall, Treasure Island, Tremors, Home Alone, and Predator 2. Almost only action on my list today.
Yeah, I purposely tried to, like, again, I go with nostalgia and subjectivity, but I tried to go with a mix. And including 2 animated films, obviously.
I'm going to have a few animated ones in upcoming streams.
Oh, definitely. I know I will.
Yeah,
It'll be Disney.
There's 3 of them that are candidates.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that's our top 10 films of 1990. The next one, next month, will be top 10 of 1991. So you have until, I would say, hold on, let me look at the Wednesdays in September, the 11th. So 9/11.
Yeah, that's
to get your list together for 1991.
Do you remember where you were
Shocker, Trey.
on 9/11?
I do, actually. I remember where I was. I'll date myself, but I remember where I was.
I've never met anyone who doesn't remember where they were when that happened.
Yeah.
Even here in Norway.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah. I remember the day. I remember it was a Tuesday. It was either Tuesday or Thursday because of, like, something that was that happened, that was going on. So, but yeah, I remember everything. But anyway,
I was at a gas station buying a burger.
So, again, I'm not going to say where I was because I'll date myself. But off stream, I'll tell you guys where I was. But anyway, so yeah, so Sieg, because I do have to kind of jump off to take my dog out and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are, Trey.
I don't have anything planned until we do the weird news. Is that what it's called now?
Yeah, September 4th would be the next one because that's the first Wednesday of September. Because next Wednesday and the following Wednesday is the 1s and 2s, and that's Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Oh.
So. And then
it's like, Hillary Clinton made a movie, Phil Bills 2.
Oh, okay. I also have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna have to do my outro.
Yeah, I'll do the outro.
But anyway, thank you all for hanging out with us. Again, the next top 10 will be top 10 1991. 1s and 2s are Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. The singles are Quick and the Dead and G.I. Jane. I can't remember the order, but Orange Chat will tell you all the order for those singles for this month. Tomorrow and Friday, I'm planning to be back on my gaming stream, Kick and Twitch, playing some more Bioshock Remastered. I might do a watch party on my Discord, watching Abigail, because that's on Peacock. It's a recent dark comedy that came out that I very much enjoyed. It's like it's kind of like relax and everything. And then Sunday, Talk Nerdy to Us should be on my Nerdy Homes channel around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's the streaming schedule at least through Sunday moving forward. And this is my Discord. Like I said, I do. Oh my God, Sam. The Winsky cut. I do, whenever I get back to playing multiplayer games, I have a gaming voice chat on the Discord, and then I also have a Discord voice chat for watch parties, and showed Office Space, Young Einstein, wrestling events, pretty much. So, just something for people to relax and forget about the cringe that's going on in pop culture, essentially. So,
You know what? For a little while, Levinsky got to be a chief of staff. Close but no cigar.
I'm not touching that one. I have to go to the bathroom. I have to take my dog out. I got to get some sleep. So thank you, everyone. Again, next Wednesday, Kill Bill Volume 1. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go. Tomorrow, Bioshock Remastered. Peace.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.